Today we're going to be talking about the the subject of how development realities are created. And when I talk about development realities, I'm really talking about you know how we normally think of developing countries, of people who live in developing countries, how the organizations that are involved in development, how they think about the work that they're doing, and most importantly, also how the people who are affected by development, the clients of development, if you will, how they view this undertaking. It's a very complex web, and even though there seems to be several commonsensical notions about development, we really need to examine what's going on when we talk about development and the philosophy that guides development organizations. And a lot of what I'm going to be speaking about today and in the weeks ahead, are themes that are developed in the Rameling Am book, Aid on the Edge of Chaos. So, I hope as you're, reading that book, you're also, taking notes and reflecting on what he has to say. So, as I said, during the course of this semester, we're literally going to be putting development and developing consulting, development consulting under the microscope. We're really going to be asking some tough questions about what development is really trying to achieve, what it has achieved, and and most importantly, what it could achieve if it really examines its practices and the way that it's currently being deployed. So as we try to construct a model for ourselves of how we're going to do this investigation, we'll consider the world of development as consisting of organizations that are focused on international development as their primary activity, and we can start thinking about those organizations in particular ways, and we can ask, we can interrogate those organizations, along a number of axes. We want to know, first of all, how they think. What is their model of reality? What are the terms that they use to describe what it is that they're doing? We also want to know how they plan. This is how they formulate strategies and how those strategies get translated into actual tactics once they get into the field. We also want to know how they perform in the field, how those strategies, how those tactics actually work once they're put on the ground, and also how these organizations assess and evaluate their work. And finally, we want to look at the organizations themselves. These organizations consist of professionals. We want to understand how those professionals are organized, what competencies they bring to the table, what networks these organizations have in the world with other development organizations, with governments, with universities. So we will be looking at organizations in a very, very comprehensive way in order to begin to assess how they're operating now, and also, most importantly, how they could be operating in a better future. So when we talk about all of these modes, learning, strategies, performance, and organizations, for each organization, there is a fundamental reality, which I'm calling here, organizational thought world, so that these activities are all taking place in every development organization, but each organization is very different, and they're distinguished by philosophical, linguistic, and cultural differences that which I will lump together and call it that organizational thought world, and really uncovering that is an important part of the type of learning that we want to accomplish. So and you can see that everywhere. I mean, you can certainly see it in the corporate world. I say what distinguishes Apple Computer, say, from IBM. Well, Apple thinks differently. To use their former advertising slogan than IBM, and the IBM way, which was certainly a very, very successful thought world strategy for many decades. Eventually ran out of steam, and companies like Microsoft and Apple, which viewed the world quite differently, their strategies actually work better. So same things operate in development, and we'll try to get a handle on what that exactly means. So again, we say, what is a thought world? We say, well, it's the basic set of attitudes, beliefs, and assumptions that constitute the conscious and unconscious state of individuals, groups, and organizations. As I said, it's what makes Apple different from Microsoft or the World Bank, different from Oxfam. It's what makes people identify with the organization, group, or tribe they belong to, but it can also be a barrier to understanding the thought world of others. And this becomes a critical element in international development. Cultural misunderstanding is really at the root of so much dysfunction that accompanies development projects. So this type of thinking, this notion that consciousness and the way we talk and think about the world is very much rooted in our own social reality. There was a sociologist who was extremely popular in the 1960s and 1970s named Peter Berger, and he wrote a book called The Social Construction of Reality, which is and was very influential. And he says specific agglomerations of reality and knowledge pertain to specific social constructs. So whether you are a development consultant working at the World Bank, or you are a native of a developing country living in a rural village, your entire notions of reality are going to be rooted in the specific life experiences that you've had, and that your actual knowledge, the things that you know and the way that you know things, are very much determined by that social reality. And the clash of these realities and the lack of basic understanding generated by the difference that these realities represent, again, is very much at the heart of the problems with international development projects. You simply can't take the messages from coming out of Western think tanks or Western universities and apply them directly into cultural situations where centuries of practice have given people a really different sense of what's real and what's important. So why exactly is this subject important, and why are we starting off with a kind of problematic view of international development. Well, the basic answer to that question is, and I think most people would agree, that the practice of international development is somewhat in crisis. That there's been a huge amount of effort and a huge amount of financial investment in development over the past few decades, but there are still hundreds of millions of people living in dire poverty, and that in some respects the poor of the world are getting poorer, even though countries like China and India are creating large middle class populations. The poorest of the poor are really not moving forward. And many of the major problems of poverty, which include everything from lack of public health infrastructure, which we can certainly see in the Ebola outbreak in West Africa, to conflicts like the kind that we see in the Middle East. This persistence of poverty-related catastrophes, and I think that's not an inappropriate word to use. We can look at the sort of development agenda as it's unfolded over the past half century, and to see where things went wrong, and where things need to be changed. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about in the course. So just to leave you with a thought, both the successes and failures of international development are rooted in specific organizational dynamics that are based on specific sets of assumptions about the world that get translated into specific sets of practices. So it's an almost scientific process that goes into constructing development practice. However, what happens when these practices are brought into the real world, that's going to be the subject of our study. It's certainly the main question that the author of Aid on the Edge of Chaos is asking, but it's also a question that aid theoreticians in universities are asking, as well as the management of development organizations. And let's also not forget the recipients of development. They, in many respects, are wondering, when the benefits of development are going to arrive for them, because there's certainly been a lot of promises and a lot of effort being brought into many different countries, but the results have